Over the past month, Brazil has been rocked by street protests and demonstrations that have embarrassed the government and caused the world to wonder whether Brazil is ready for the major events which it has elected to host, the Olympics and the World Cup. The demonstrations suggest that there are a number of problems ahead for Brazil, and the question arises as to whether Brazil is ready to host these significant international events. The simple answer is that the country almost certainly is ready, but that the demonstrations indicate that the government has a set of problems with which it must deal in order to be fully prepared for the major events which it is intending to host. The president, Dilma Rousseff, who is head of the governing party, the Workers' Party, the PT, has shown in her response to the demonstrations that she is ill-equipped to handle the politics of the current situation. She is a manager. Her skills are in handling large, complex organizations and difficult problems. But she has shown over the past few months that she is terribly weak in handling the politics of negotiation and conflict resolution. She has the support of her party, which has a majority in parliament, and she has made a number of proposals to satisfy the demands of the demonstrators. Those demands focus on two major issues. First, at the expenses of preparing for these major events, constructing stadiums, infrastructure, roads, and the like, is draining resources away from social issues such as education and health, which the country badly needs. In its initial response, Rousseff, the president, and the government have promised that the resources coming into the country over the next few years from its massive petroleum reserves will be reserved instead for enhancing education in the country. How to deal with the lack of health care has not been significantly addressed. It is to be hoped in the months ahead that the government will formulate realistic legislation that will indeed address these two central problems, the second of which is constant corruption. The principal issue in the corruption scandal is what's called the monthlies, payments under Dilma's predecessor, Lula, the head of the PT, payments to legislators on a monthly basis, hence the term for the scandal, in order to buy their votes. There is some very real danger that as the courts gingerly deal with this scandal, some extremely important people in the PT, including, it is suggested, Mr. Lula himself, will be implicated in the scandal. And the question for the government is, can it deal with this scandal? Can it accept the findings of the judiciary? And will it hold the guilty parties accountable? Those issues have yet to be resolved. With regard to the World Cup and the Olympics, there is no question that both events will be of significant benefit to the Brazilian government, state, and to the population. If it is halfway as successful as the recent London Olympics, the amount of money pouring into Brazil as a result of these events will be very significant. But more important than the revenue, though that's not trivial, more important than the revenue is the fact that successfully holding these events and keeping the surrounding areas peaceful so that tourism can be promoted will enhance Brazil's reputation in the world sphere. And that is absolutely crucial to the interests of the PT in preparing for the coming presidential elections. In opposition, behind the scenes, is another former president, Fernando Henrique Cardoso, who is holding out the possibility that his strategic plan for Brazil as a global power will be enhanced significantly by these two major events. In the run-up to the presidential elections, Dilma's failures will be a mark against her. If Cardoso can find a charismatic or popular leader for the opposition on the center-right, then the presidential election will be a very significant struggle for power. Meanwhile, Brazil is actually doing quite well. Its economic growth has slowed but has not ended, and Brazil almost certainly will be on its feet celebrating the Olympics and the World Cup in the years ahead of us. We shall see how that turns out.